transportation and reproduction in plants. So these two topics are quite interesting, and it is related to transportation. Means the transfer of something, the transfer of anything from one place to the others. Okay, if something is transferring from one area to another area is known as transportation. So in your body, what does transportation, what is the use of transportation? Transportation is very important. You eat food, right? And that food goes to a digestive system, and digestive system will digest your complex food into very small particles. And in that digestive system, that food is converted into end product, that is glucose, proteins and fats. Okay, now these end products these end products will have to go in each and every cells from head to toe. Okay, from head to toe, in order to that, because that food will provide you energy, and in for providing energy, that food should be go in each and every cell. So how does these food, that is the end product, will go from one place, that all the food will be the end product formed in the digestive system. So how it will go from all over the body? Through the transportation. Okay, and who pumps blood in your body? Which organ? Heart. Heart pumps blood. So from the heart, how everywhere blood can flow. If you have a cut, the blood will flow from your this thumb. Okay, if you are cut here, the blood will fall out from forehead. So if heart is pumping the blood, how the blood have reached there? Because of transportation. So there is system in our body that helps in transferring the substances from one area to the other area. So that system is known as transportation system, right? Okay. Now, who do all these things? We will discuss with a book. Yeah, transportation in animals and plants. Okay. Circulatory system. What do you mean by circulatory system? We have right, we have till now discussed about the digestive system, about the respiratory system, about the uh, excretory system. Now the topic comes that circulatory system. Circulatory means circulation of various substances in body from one place to the other, that is transportation. Okay, if you want to send some products to your friend's home, from your house to your friend house, how will you able to do that? You will you will pack the substances you need to transport. You will just book a vehicle, and put that all the substances into the vehicle, and that vehicle will able to transport your substances, your everything from your house to your friend's house. Okay, so in the same way, there's a circulatory system that blood. Your blood is there. Blood is categorized into two parts. First is blood corpuscles. Or another is plasma. So plasma is watery substance. It is a colorless. Okay. and it carries everything. And blood corpuscles is your RBC, WBC, and your platelets. Okay, so yeah, now now the plasma is colorless, completely colorless and watery substance. It consists of 90% of water, and rest 10% is your various types of ions, various types of other material embedded in it. Okay, then where three types of blood corpuscles, like red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So red blood cells, that is RBC, that contains a pigment. Which pigment? Hemoglobin. Have you ever heard this term, hemoglobin? If not, um, you might have heard when you go to the doctor, or maybe with your parents, he might have said that hemoglobin has down, hemoglobin has decreases, just take this medicines or take the test. Have you have ever heard? So hemoglobin present in our blood, in red blood cells. And what does the hemoglobin do? Hemoglobin hemoglobin is a carrier. Hemoglobin is a carrier. It is an oxygen carrier. It is an oxygen. Just like in your school, there's a one peon, and peon, what does it do? It takes some files or some materials. It will take from principal and give it to you, and it will take that materials from you and give it to teachers and principal. So they are carrier of some substances. Okay. So in the same way, hemoglobin is a carrier of oxygen. It is called oxygen carrier. So oxygen from the lungs goes to different parts of the body. How? The blood transport. But which part of the blood? That is the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a red color pigment, and it is an oxygen carrier. Okay. And it is where it is present? It is present in the red blood cells. So three things. Hemoglobin present in the red blood cells is a red colored pigment. It is a oxygen carrier. It carries oxygen from lungs and transport all over the body, right? Then move to the, and your color of the blood is red. Why red? Because hemoglobin is present. So if someone asks you why the color of blood is red, so because of presence of hemoglobin pigment. Okay. Now white blood cells, which fight against germs. Yeah. Now tell me, when you have fever or you go out in a cold without any warm clothes, the fever catches you, right? And you have viral infections, viral fever. How is it so? And after some days, 2 to 3 days, if you don't even take the medicines, you will be okay after 2 3 days or maximum 1 week. How is it so? How you can recover from those viral fevers and viral infections? Because there is a WBC present in our body, and WBC is a policeman of our body. How policemen protect us from the thieves and many criminals? In the same way, these WBC is a policeman of our body, and it fight against the germs. It fights against all the viruses and infections, and it will fight and throw that infection out of your body, and after that you will recover. So the white blood cell is a policeman of our body. It fight against the germs and every virus, every infection. Okay, so that you can you can recover from any infection or from any fever. So why we do take medicines? We take medicine so that you can recover even faster. You can recover even faster if you take medicine. So you can recover in 2 to 3 days. But if you don't take medicines, it can take 1 week or more than that. So nobody wants to sick for so many days. So they take medicines. because of faster relief. And so coronavirus, there's a one term is very common, that is immune system. So where does this immune system comes from? It comes from the white blood cells. These blood cells fight against the infection. So coronavirus go to your body. What does this WBC do? It fight against the virus. But virus is so strong. So WBC cannot fight with that virus. Just like one policeman is there and the criminal is so powerful. So the policeman needs some more force to fight with him. Just like that, when you take medicines, the white blood cells and medicines both combinedly fight with that coronavirus, and it will remove from your body and you will recover faster. Clear? Now platelets. Okay. Now third component of blood is platelets. When you have cut anywhere, you have cut here, after the blood will flow out of your body. So this blood will flow and flow and flow. If you don't apply anything on that blood, so what do you think? That blood will flow continuously? No. After sometimes it will stop flowing. How? Because of blood clotting. Blood will clot. Clot means there will be thick substance, blood will become thick, and so that it cannot flow more. When any liquid become thin, it cannot flow. So the clot is formed because of the presence of platelets. Okay, so your blood will stop flowing. If that clot is not formed, what will happen? The blood will flow and flow, and the blood will finish from your body if you don't apply anything faster. But if the injury is very big, okay, suppose injury is very big, so we need to apply something just immediately, so that we can stop the flow of blood, because is clotting will occur, but for the larger wound or for the large injury, it will take so many time. So we have discussed all the three components of the blood as well as the plasma. Now blood vessels. So we have talked about the blood will flow from one area to another area, and it will take with itself many things like waste material, oxygen, and everything. So how does blood flow from one area to another? With the help of blood vessels. It's just like a pipe. The water flows through the pipe or the straw. You drink cold drink with that straw. From the straw, the cold drink will reach towards your mouth. In the same way, in the blood vessels carry blood from one place to the other. So there are two main type of blood vessels, that is arteries and veins. Okay, so arteries carry oxygenated blood, that is oxygen rich blood, from heart to all over the body. Okay, from heart to all over the body. I will tell you how. Wait a second. Yeah, so arteries, it will takes it will take oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood means oxygen rich, O2 rich blood. Where do you get oxygenated blood? From heart. From heart, because heart pumps the blood, oxygenated blood from heart to all over the body. All over the body. Okay. And there's a veins. Veins do opposite of it. It will take deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenation in the plants. So what is reproduction in plants? Okay. So there are many plants you have seen all around. Okay. how these plants grow, how these plants come. Uh, have you ever seen the very small plant is planted and after some times it will grow in and become a full complete tree? And have you ever seen the seeds? Okay, you have seen the seeds. The farmers spread the seeds all over the field, and after some times, that seeds will grow into a crop, into a green color plants. How this seed is responsible for becoming a full complete plant, or how new plant can grow. So the production of new individual from the parents is known as reproduction. Where you come from. You come from your parents. How? Through the process of reproduction. Okay? The production of new individuals. The new individuals are producing from the parents. That is known as reproduction. Okay? You have seen the dog. Okay? After some days, after so many long days, the dog will give you the puppies. How these puppies came from the process of reproduction. Okay, but now in this chapter we are going to discuss about the plants. How plants. Now there are two modes of reproduction. If it involves single parent, it is known as asexual reproduction. If it involves two parents, it will known as sexual reproduction. So, what is there in your book? Most plants have roots, stems, and leaves. These are called the vegetative parts. The which part of the tree is known as vegetative parts? The roots, stems, and leaves. These parts are known as aerial parts of the plant. That is vegetative part. Okay. After certain period of growth, most plant bears flowers. After some time, you grow a small plant and just daily nourish it, daily give water and everything. After some days, it will grow and grow, and one day it becomes a complete full plant. And after some days, you will see the small colorful flowers over it. And if it is a big tree, there will be fruits on it. How these comes from? How these fruits come from, how these flowers come from. Is anybody just pick those flowers and fruits over the trees? No, it is coming from the process known as reproduction, which we are going to discuss here, right? So the parts of the plant like roots, stems, and leaves are known as vegetative part of the plant. After certain period of growth, they bear fruits and flowers. Okay. Now we eat fruits, right? And usually, if I'll give you the mango, what you will do? You will eat complete mango and throw that seed portion go out. Okay. And if you eat watermelon, you will throw that seeds. What is the purpose of that seed? That seed will convert into a new plant. That seed is very important. So, what do farmers do? They carries all the seeds and they just spread all over the field, and that seeds will convert into complete fresh new plants. Seeds are very important for any plant, right? From the seeds, a plant can grow full tree into a full tree. What is the function of flowers in the plants? What is the function of flowers? How does these flowers come from? Flowers perform the function of reproduction in plants. So we are discussing about the reproduction. Fine, these flower fruits comes from the reproduction. Seeds are come from the reproduction. But who perform this reproduction process? The flowers. The flowers are reproductive part. reproductive part. The plant is divided into two parts. So I'm talking about the plant. There are plant or any tree. There are two types. That is vegetative portion, vegetative parts, and your reproductive part. Vegetative parts are stem, leaves, roots, which you can simply see. You have seen now. And reproductive part is flowers. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So we have discussed the modes of reproduction. That is sexual and asexual. Asexual involve only a single parent, and sexual reproduction involve both the parents, both male and female. In plants, in lower plants, asexual reproduction takes place, and in higher plants, sexual reproduction. So, asexual mode of reproduction is also known as vegetative propagation in plants. Okay, in plants, asexual reproduction is also known as vegetative propagation. So, what is it? It is a type of asexual reproduction in which new plants are produced from which part? Root, stems, leaves, and buds. The root, stems, leaves, and buds, that is your vegetative part. Vegetative parts, and it is called the vegetative propagation. Means a new plant can form from vegetative parts, that is root, stems, leaves, and buds. Since reproduction is through the vegetative parts, that is why it is known as vegetative propagation. Okay. For example, some plants are like, if you cut one portion, that one leaf or one stem, and just grow that portion into the soil, that portion will give rise to a new plant. Okay, just like ginger, you have seen ginger. You cut that portion of the one portion of the ginger and just just go and grow that portion into the soil. After some days means it will take longer time. It will grow into a complete ginger plant. Okay, not overnight. It will take some time. So yeah, and which portion you have to go that vegetative portion. It can be stem, it can be root, or it can be bud. Okay, just like that potato eye. You can see potato eye. Some this kind of potato you might have seen at your home or in the subsequently. So these are the eye of the potato. And if you grow these potatoes like this, it will convert into complete fresh plant. And there's a one leaf bryophyllum. There's a leaf plant. There's a buds at the margins. How these buds are, I'll show you. It is something like this type of leaf. And here, some buds like this kind. At the margins, there's some outgrowth from this portion only. It is called the buds. And if you cut these buds, it will grow in complete fresh plant. So these buds are responsible for generation of new plants. Okay. You know sugarcane. Sugar canes are like this. There's a parts on the sugarcane. This is called the node. If you cut the sugarcane from one part and move this portion in the soil, what you will see a complete sugarcane tree. It will grow. Okay. So we have discussed the sexual reproduction. Now, one thing is known as budding. What do you mean by budding? Production in yeast. Yeast is a microorganism, and yeast is a microorganism. And how yeast will develop a new yeast with the help of a body. See, it is a single cell of the yeast cell, and it will grow. You can see the pictures. It's a very clear picture. This will grow. It is a nucleus, and it will grow and again grow, and it will complete into like this. Now, what will happen? This whole portion will detach. How will detach? I'll show you. This is the one single cell of yeast cell, and this is nucleus. Okay. After some times, it will grow, and it will grow. Na? Nucleus will also grow. Then again, it will grow, and what will happen? There's a budding out growth will come, and that nucleus will be there in this out. Okay. Now again, this outgrow will develop, and develop. Okay. Now, after sometimes on maturation, this portion will cut automatically, and this will develop into 3 new cells. So from one yeast, you get many yeast. I have drawn 3, but it can be many more. So this process is known as budding in yeast. And there's one more organism known as Hydra. In that also budding takes place. So in your exam, when budding is asked, you have to draw the diagram like this. Okay. Now there's a fragmentation. Fragmentation, that is, if you cut one portion of body. Suppose alga undergo fragmentation, and the example is fiber. So if you cut one portion, that portion will develop into new. The whole body will get fragmented. Fragmentation means get uh, converted into pieces, and each piece will develop into new individual. Fragments, you know now. Fragments mean that fragmentations done. So how fragmentation? Fragmentation. This color is not very good. I will change the color. Which color? Blue. Okay. How will fragmentations like this is a body. This is a quite good color, right? This is a body. Okay. It may be any alga, or there's a spirogyra. This called a spirogyra. Its body is like this. What will happen after some times? These fragments, this whole body will convert into the fragments. It will break, and it will become into 3 fragments. Okay. Now what will happen? Each fragment will convert into new plant. So this process known as fragmentation. Spore formation. There's some you can see like this. Spore formation. There's spore formation in a fungus, where you can see the fungus. If you keep your food for a longer time, just leave that bread or something for a longer time, what you will observe, there will be white color fungus all over that bread. Okay. So when you will observe that fungus with the microscope, you will see such kind of structure. And that fungus is rhizopus actually. And it will undergo reproduction. How? It will grow like this. It is a hyphae, and there will be this bulb-like structure will be there. And in these bulb-like structure, there's a spores. Spores means small seeds are there, and these seeds will convert into a complete full fungi. Okay. So now sexual reproduction. Sexual is involvement of two parents. Okay. So in it needs reproductive part. For the sexual reproduction, plant needs reproductive part. Which one was the reproductive part? That is flower. In flower, there's a two portion, that is male reproductive part and female reproductive part. Okay. So the male reproductive part I will discuss with the help of PPT. Not PPT, I will show you. Yeah. So flower is your reproductive portion, reproductive part, and flower is divided into two. That is male reproductive part and female. Male reproductive part is known as stamen. What is it known as? Stamen. And female reproductive part is known as pistil. Okay. Now stamen is divided into two, anther and filament. Okay. Pistil is divided into three, that is stigma, style, and last is ovary. Okay. Now what will happen? Now the flowers can be two different types, unisexual and bisexual. Uni means one. If only one reproductive part, either male or female, present in a plant is known as unisexual flowers. Okay. And if both the male and female reproductive part is present in a flower, it is known as bisexual. Uni means one, only one, either male or female. Bi means two, that both male and female. So, unisexual example of unisexual flower is corn, papaya, cucumber. Okay, and bisexual is mustard, rose, petunia. Yeah. So I've discussed you about the anther, filament, the stamen. This is that. This portion is called the anther, and this is the filament. In the anther, there's a male gamete. Male gamete means that is responsible for reproduction, the main source. So in these anther, the pollen grains will develop. Have you seen the hibiscus plant? That hibiscus plant, if you pluck that hibiscus plant flower, red color flower, if you might have even touched or smell it, there is a yellow color flower. When you will touch that flower, na, the yellow color small bodies will stick all over your hand. That is the pollen grain, and it will present not only the hibiscus in every other plant. So in anther, the pollen grains is there, and the pollen grains will move from filament. Okay, the filament is a pipe-like structure. The pollen grains will move. Now, male gamete is pollen grains, and female gamete is egg. Okay, male gamete is pollen grain, and female gamete is egg. Yeah. Okay, I will discuss this with. So this is male reproductive part. This is anther, and this is filament. And male reproductive part is male gamete. Male gamete. Male gamete is pollen grains. Where it does come from? From anther. Okay. And female gamete is your egg, or it is also called ova. Okay. So we have discussed the flower, male reproductive part, female, stamen, anther, filament, stigma, style, ovary. The male gamete is pollen grain that is developed into the anther, and the female gamete is ova that is developed inside the ovary. Okay. Now there's one more thing come that is known as fertilization. What do you mean by fertilization? When gamete, male gamete is pollen grain, pollen fuse. Fuse means combine with female gamete. Female gamete that is ova to form a single unit called zygote. And after that, this zygote will convert into embryo, and this embryo into seed, this embryo into seeds, and this seed will develop into a plant, new plant. Okay. Now the question arises how this male gamete, that is pollen, will reach to ova. For the fusion, they it should be necessary that they will meet. How they will meet? They will meet by the process of pollination. Pollination means the transfer of pollen grains from male reproductive part, that is from the anther, to the stigma, that is female reproductive part. And from the stigma, it will go to ovary, and there is ova present. It will go and fuse with ova. After fusion, there will be zygote formed. From zygote, will zygote mature and cell division, it will convert it to embryo, embryo into the seed and new plant. When embryo will convert into the seed, this process known as germination. Known as germination. That is conversion of embryo into seeds. Okay. Now pollination we have discussed. There are two types of pollination: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination will occur in bisexual plants, where or the male and female reproductive portion in one flower. The pollination will take place in a same flower. But if male and female part is in different flowers, that is unisexual, so who will carry the pollen grains towards the ovary? So it is known as cross pollination. Okay, let's take an example. If you and your friend is sitting in a single room, and if you have to pass your notebook to your friend, what you will do? You will pass. You can easily pass because you both are in the same room. Okay, you will just hand over your notebook to your friend. But what if your friend is in different room or different house? Then what will happen? There there So you, when you have to pass that notebook, you need some carrier. Okay, you, maybe you can go with the cycle. Okay, or maybe you go with your parents in a car. So the same way, the cross pollination will occur with a medium, with agents. The agents can be wind. Wind can carry the pollen grains to the stigma, or any insects. The insects, the butterfly, sit on the flowers. It will the pollen grains stick to the butterfly, and When butterfly moves to another plant, the pollen rays will reaches the oat. So these are the agents. So we have discussed the self-pollination, cross-pollination in unisexual flowers, and self-pollination in bisexual. Okay. So that's it for today. We have discussed all the important things of uh, both the topic and it's quite interesting topic. So you need to revise all these things. If any doubt, you can ask in the next session. We will meet in the next session with two new topics. So for today, that's it. Good night. Take care.